Hey guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today is Q&A Tuesday. This is the #1 question and answer show about medical coding, airing on Tuesday. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue. I'm a medical coder. I have been a medical coder for over 10 years. I created my channel with the hope of sharing all the things that I know with all of you. I take all of the questions that I get every week from viewer comments, from emails, from Instagram, and I put it all into one episode, so here we go. And if you would like your question answered for next week's Q&A Tuesday, I hope that you'll comment below or shoot me an email. Now, thank you to everybody who submitted a question, so let's get started. All right, first question. I was wondering how long to keep outdated medical coding books. I have read on different forums and medical coding groups to keep them, but no one really says for how long. So when it comes to medical coding books, every year they get updated, but there is still very helpful information that doesn't go out of date. Like a lot of times there's still like the anatomy plates, there's still other coding guidances that are in there. Sometimes the guidelines are not updated on certain things. So it just depends on what you're keeping it for. I am a book nerd, so I keep my books for as long as I possibly can. Obviously, books that are really old, I get rid of them. I recycle them. But if it's just a couple of years back, I will still keep them because a lot of the information, though we do go through updates, I can still reference it back, or if I need to look up something historically, I can and compare it from the previous years to the current year, depending on what's actually happening or what's going on. So that's what I would do. Next question. Do you know of a more affordable place to purchase books besides Amazon? I'd like to self-study, but since I'm on a tight budget, I wanted to see if you had any recommendations. When it comes to finding cheaper books to learn medical coding with, there's always places that you can find to rent books, and you can rent the coding books. From there, you could do that. You could also look on eBay. eBay is another option if you are looking for a cheap set of books. It depends though, guys. You have to really look at the listing and what's happening, because sometimes the sellers will have like a lot of books and it's just they're selling the one book. So make sure that you're paying attention to anytime you look at those kind of listings. But yeah, eBay would be another really good place to find a cheap used version. So that would be my suggestion there. Next question. I attended a vocational school in 2003 and I never sat for my exam. Currently, I am a biller. Would you recommend a few things that I can do to refresh? I plan on taking the CPCA exam. You need to go through the whole program again. Like literally from 2003 until now, we are in ICD-10 now. And when somebody learned it in 2003, that's going to be ICD-9 times. So we are in a completely new code set when it comes to the diagnosis. The CPT manual is the same. The ICD-10 PCS is for the procedures for the inpatient side. But they were taking the CPCA, so that's not a concern for them. But still, you would have to learn everything all over again. That would be my suggestion. Next question. I really enjoyed watching your videos. I am interested in taking a self-paced CPC training package plus hands-on experience course from AAPC. This course is without live online instruction. My question is, what is the difference if I just buy the book bundles, the exam and the practice exam, and the step-by-step books, which would be just under $900? What would be the difference between going through the program and going through just buying the books? So when it comes to just buying the books, you have to be disciplined enough to learn on your own. This course is saying that it is without live instruction, so I'm not really sure what all is included in that package. I'm not with AAPC, so I wouldn't be able to answer that for you. You have to call AAPC, which their customer service, I'm telling you guys, whenever I go to the website, there's always a little pop-up thing. So they are not afraid to talk to the people. So be sure to reach out to them and ask them what the difference is. But to me, if you are disciplined enough to self-study, by all means, go for it. If they're giving you all the books and it's telling you step by step that this is the whole process the whole way, I would go with that way, because essentially when you're doing a program, you're going to be learning a lot of things on your own. When I went to medical coding school, I learned on my own. They literally sat me in front of a computer and said, here, learn, because it was all online and all they did was give me the books. So that was pretty much what my training was. And you can learn it from a book. It is completely possible. You are going to have questions. So I would recommend that you reach out to anybody else that's in that program. You can also reach out to me. I do offer one-on-one tutoring time via Zoom. So if you are truly stuck, I have very reasonable rates. If you are, if you're interested, my hourly rate is $25 per hour. So, I mean, you are totally free to contact me. I have a very open schedule and I am willing to work with people on the time. Additional hours is $15 per hour after that. So that is what I can offer you. But it is possible, I will say, to learn on your own. If you are a studious person, this wouldn't be an issue. If you're somebody that needs a lot of interaction and a lot of instruction, then maybe you might want to go for the online program where there's some sort of interaction. This program is saying that it is without live instruction. So I'm not really sure what all is included in that. So it may be the amount of tests that you can take. I don't know. So you'll have to get with them. All right, next question. I am familiar with ICD-10 as a nurse, not a coder. My experience with it mainly is in putting the codes during admissions. I was wondering if my LPN background would give me some sort of edge in the future. Since I am a bit familiar with ICD-10, would it help me with the CCA exam? Thank you for taking the time to read this email, and thank you for creating your channel. Oh, you're welcome. All right. When it comes to having a nursing background, nurses, I always say it is really awesome, right? When nurses want to become medical coders. I will say this though. When it comes to taking off your nurse hat and putting on a medical coder hat, it is completely different. And it is totally not the same thing. When you're selecting codes, you are literally just selecting codes. That's not the same as what we do as medical coders, which is literally read the documentation, comprehend what's going on, and then we select the codes and the procedures. Depending if the procedures and the diagnoses are already selected, then we go about the process of auditing to make sure that they are correct. We make any corrections to the diagnosis or the procedure code selection that are necessary. So that is what we do as medical coders. So a lot of times when nurses will tell me, oh yes, I code all the time. Oh, okay, well, so you've done all the coding stuff before. Oh yes, I select the codes. No, it's not the same as what we do. It is completely different. And I will say that having that strong background in anatomy, physiology, and medical terminology will already put you light years ahead. What gets employers excited is when they see a nurse. Oh, we've got a nurse. Because nurses they have a reputation for already knowing how to deal with providers. Because of this, they usually try to get nurses to do a lot of the education with the providers. They also try to get them to do a lot of the clinical documentation improvement if they do not have one already on staff. Because they usually have, some facilities have the clinical documentation practitioners, improvement practitioners at the facility, and some do not. Some don't really see the value. And not everybody sees the value, okay? You have to really be enlightened to know what the value is of having a really good CDI person, because they are really helpful. But with the nurses doing the CDI and talking with the providers, because they already have a established relationship between doctor and nurse turned medical coder. Oh, okay, well, sure, they'll be able to be willing to listen to a nurse. And they do start to listen to medical coders, but a lot of times with medical coders, it is a long haul to get that kind of relationship, because sometimes providers are not willing to listen to medical coders because they think, well, they only have a certification. Why do I need to listen to this person? That's when you have to come in and say, okay, let me show you what I can do, because they don't always know. and they don't always get exposed to a really good high caliber medical coder. And that's what you always want to show. So while I will say that it will put you ahead because you'll be able to understand the disease process, which is a really huge thing when it comes to medical coding, it is entirely up to you. You got to make yourself shine because you have those skills and, you know, you can do really good with that. So that would be just my advice. All right, next question. Not a coding question, but are those your real nails? They are so beautiful and long. Yes, they are real. I have always had really long fingernails. This started when I was a kid. I was 7. Okay, I remember this very well. I was 7 years old. A little story time. I was 7 years old, and my aunt had a bar, right? And that was what she did. So she was really glamorous. I remember her. She was my Aunt Lucy, and she was very glamorous. She's passed on, but she lived a long life. This woman was very glamorous, and she was always carrying around a little dog. She was one of those, right? But boy, she was the boss. So she had a lot of businesses and things like that, but the bar was her biggest business. And so we went to go visit her during the summer or something like that, and she saw me. And she goes, "Ay, mija." And she's got this little dog, right? And she goes, "Come here." And so I was like, "Oh, hi, Aunt Lucy," you know, and I gave her a hug. And then she goes, "Mija, mija," which means like, you know, daughter, young girl. "Bring me my nail kit." And so I saw this nail kit, and it's got all these beautiful nail colors and everything like that, all these beautiful polishes and stuff, and like these files and all of this stuff. And so I said, "Oh, okay, maybe she wants to do her nails, you know." And so I brought it over to her, and she goes, "Sit down, sit down." So she puts the dog down, and then she starts filing my nails. And now I was a kid, you know, like, what are you doing, you know? And she's like, "I'm going to paint your nails." So she starts filing my nails, and she starts getting them all nice and squared off and really pretty. And she was always telling me, she goes, "Oh, mija, your nails are so beautiful. Always keep your nails long." That's how she talked. And so I said, "Okay, Aunt Lucy." So she painted them pink, and real light, real cute pink. And she goes, "There." And I felt like the most glamorous girl in the world. I was so little. I was 7. And then she goes, "There, now you look really pretty." So she goes, "But you're always pretty, mija." So she gave me a kiss on the head and sent me on my way. But I was like, "Oh, this is so cute." So ever since then, and I watched how she did it, and I really liked how they looked. So yeah, I mean, ever since then, I've always kept them long. And now before you say anything, "Oh, well, then she doesn't do anything if her nails are that long." Aha, contraire, not so. I do. I run my household. I am single. I do everything for myself. I pump my own gas. I wash my dishes. I take out the trash. I do everything. So yes, I have had experience with these nails. Now, sometimes I will tell you, my nails do slip off the keyboard sometimes, and they do get stuck occasionally when they get really long. If they get too long like that, then I kind of file them down. This is the longest they've been in a while, but I mean, I'm probably gonna file them down just a little bit. But other than that, yes, they are mine. They are real. The hair is real too, even though it looks a little. But yes, everything is real about me. Next question. Could you please recommend any good medical terminology dictionary or medical terminology book that you use? So I will leave the link to some books down in the description box below. Those are just some of the ones that I recommend. When it comes to medical dictionaries, I like Dorland's and I like TABER'S. So if you can get your hands on a Dorland's illustrated book, it's big, right? But it's for your desk. But if you are wanting like a portable one, TABER'S is a really good book to have. There's not a whole lot of illustration. It does have some, not a lot, but it would be just what I would recommend. Next question. Hi, on your next Q&A, can you please discuss what computer skills coders need? I've received conflicting information. Thank you very much. Your videos are very helpful. Oh. So computer skills, you need basic computer skills, like to be able to use Outlook, like the email, Excel, Word, and PowerPoint. If you don't know how to use PowerPoint, it's totally fine. I didn't know until a few years ago how to use PowerPoint. The great thing about YouTube is that they have plenty of videos that you can watch to get some assistance if you have questions on how to use any of those things. But yes, knowing how to use Microsoft Office Suite is really good to know. And that would be like your main part of like the computer stuff that you really should know. If you need to do a screenshot, you know, Alt Delete Print Screen, and then you can copy and paste it onto a Word document. That would be just some basic things to know. That would be what I would recommend. And a lot of times in the job listings, it'll tell you that there's just basic computer skills that you need. A lot of times when you're being trained, you'll be trained for their electronic health record or electronic medical record, whatever you want to call it. And so you'll get that training. But like the basic things like about using the Microsoft Office Suite would be really good. Okay. So next question. The course I am planning on taking only prepares me to take the NHA exam, not AHIMA. Is it worth it, or should I look for another class which will prepare me for AHIMA? If you are wanting to be a medical coder and to be competitive in this field, you need to be certified with the American Health Information Management Association, or AHIMA, or the American Academy of Professional Coders, or AAPC. Now, I'm not going to recommend one over the other one, even though I am with AHIMA. The reason that I do this is because there's lots of really good points to both associations, and there's wonderful coders with both associations. So whichever one you choose is what you should consider. When it comes to any of these other credentials that are out there, it's not going to get you in the door as far as like if you're looking to be a medical coder, because anytime you're looking at these job listings, they are specifically asking for AHIMA or AAPC credentials. So it is entirely up to you, but I would say if you want to be a medical coder, you got to go through one of them. All right. Next question. Do they have a lot of long cases on the exam? I find that the lengthy cases slow me down so much. Honey, they slow us all down. And no one really knows. I mean, I don't know what's on the exam. No one knows but the associations themselves. When it comes to the really long cases, you need to have practice beforehand, like really looking at these cases and trying to find like the keywords and what you're really looking for. There you go. There you go. My fingers weren't snapping for a minute there. So when you're going through and you're looking at these, when you're looking at the scenarios, you are looking for the keywords, like what happened. You don't have to read about all the, like the marcaine injection, lidocaine injection. You don't have to read about all that, like the anesthesia and all this stuff. What you're looking at when you're trying to get through a op note efficiently is when they're starting to make the incision, or when they're starting to do the entry or whatever, that you're looking to see and make sure that all of the procedure is going correctly, because whatever they have listed at the top is like the title of the procedure. Sometimes they'll say laparoscopic cholecystectomy, right? And you're thinking, okay, cool, you know, I can just go ahead and pick it up. But what if you read, right? Of course, hopefully you're reading, and you find that this laparoscopic cholecystectomy actually had to be converted to an open procedure. That's going to change completely the code. So with that in mind, you have to make sure that you're looking through, and don't take the time to read every single word. I do that. And I know that there's times when I need to speed it up. So I'm literally sort of looking for those key words, like, is everything going okay here? And that's how I'm able to get to those. But that's all I can recommend to you, is not to get hung up on those types of details when it comes to like the anesthesia injection, the anesthesia induction, and all this other stuff. Get to the root of the procedure and move on. But that is what you're going to come up against. So. But I don't know, like the length on the tests, I don't know. I really don't know. I couldn't answer. But all I can do is tell you to practice. That's my advice. All right, next question. Hi, I take my exam on December the 5th. I'm so curious about the exam. Would you say that it is difficult? This is my hugest advice. If you hear anything that I say in this video, it is this. When it comes to getting ready to take your certification exam, do not ask other people, was it hard? Did you think it was difficult? Because their experience is going to be completely different from yours. If I'm being honest and I'm telling you guys what I would think and what I say, it is this. Other people are going to have different experiences. Not everybody has studied the same. Not everybody had the same instructor. Not everybody has the same home environment. Not everybody has the same support system. So with all of these things in mind, their version of difficulty is going to be different from your version of difficulty. There's a lot of things that I do that in the beginning that were very difficult even for me, but other people say, oh, that was so easy, and we were learning at the same time. So I knew I had to like approach my learning a different way. So I always tell you guys, don't ask other people what their experience was if they found it difficult, because what they find difficult, you may not find difficult. But if you hear that, oh, it was difficult and oh my gosh, it was so hard and I struggled and I didn't make it through in time and I just barely made it. And then now you have that anxiety. Oh my gosh, well, what if all this studying that I did and it just, guys, don't do that to yourself. Do not do that to yourself. Please, if you hear anything I'm telling you, don't do it. Concentrate on what you have in front of you. You have a goal, right, to get your certification because you want to be a medical coder. Get to that goal, but get to that goal by keeping your head down, focus on your goal. You want to pass that certification exam, right? You don't need to announce to everybody, I'm going to go take my exam, because everybody's going to tell you, oh, good luck. And then you may have some negative Nellies, because there's always going to be a negative Nelly out there. Well, you know, if you, no. Take your certification exam. Be quiet about the things that you're doing. And then when you do pass, announce it to the world, okay? And that way you can share in the joy of that. But some things you got to keep to yourself, guys. We are in a society now of really sharing, right? We have so many avenues to share. Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all of these places, YouTube even, to share what is happening with us. But you got to keep a lot of the stuff that you're going through to yourself, so that way you don't have any of these other outside influences getting into your head. You need to be concentrating on yourself and what you're trying to do in your goal. Then you can go from there, because there's always going to be somebody that's negative. And if you let them, they'll get in your way. That's just my advice. And the last question for today. I was wondering what kind of jobs are available for new graduates of a medical billing and coding program when you sit for the CBCS exam. So as I've said in the previous video when I talked about the CBCS, I have not seen anyone asking for the CBCS. And if you want to be a medical biller, you do not have to be certified for that. If you look on the job listings for medical billing, it will tell you that they basically either want experience or they want you to have a high school diploma or a GED, because they'll train you. So if you're getting training, it's really kind of futile, because they're already going to train you when you get there. And a certification is not needed. I'm just saying. And before anybody says, well, you know, I'm certified, then it's more of a jump for me, because it makes me look good. If no one is asking for it. So I'm going to wrap it up. If you have any questions for next week, I hope that you will send them in. Remember, guys, I do real talk. This is the truth. So that's it. I'm going to wrap this one up. If you're a medical coder, a medical coding student, somebody curious about the fascinating world of medical coding, a provider, or a nurse, I invite you to like and subscribe and follow me on my journey in medical coding. I will see y'all next time. Bye.